Matt and Friends Drink the Universe is proudly sponsored by the Poppins Travel Company. Whether you're traveling across the universe like us or right here on planet Earth, it's always a good idea to have an expert to help you plan your trip. For your travel experts, look no further than the Poppins Travel Company. They'll help you book your next adventure or vacation, and the best part is they'll do your travel planning for free. To schedule a virtual appointment with one of their highly qualified travel agents, visit their website, www.poppinstravelcompany.com. That's www.poppinstravelcompany.com, or call them at 407-494-4070. That's 407-494-4070. Hello, listeners. We're all here to have fun,
But we'd like to take a moment to encourage you to always drink responsibly.
Never drink and drive.
If you have a complicated relationship with alcohol or other substances and you want to talk about it,
You can call 1-800-662-4357 for support.
Thank you for listening.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Welcome to Matt and Friends Drink the Universe!
All right, everybody, welcome back to Matt and Friends Drink the Universe. The theme for today is aliens, UFOs, little green men, things from outer space.
Ooh.
yay.
That was lackluster at best.
Well, no, that wasn't like a woo. It was like a ooh.
It was a spooky.
Like
it was
a spooky.
spooky woo.
All right.
It's fine.
It wasn't that spooky, but okay.
The general idea of what we're going to do today, Matt has pulled together some stories, and Matt is going to read them to everybody that's here, and they're going to try to determine whether or not those stories are true or false. And they all have to do with aliens or abductions and things like that. So before we go any further, let's go around the table here and have everybody introduce themselves.
Hey guys, it's Rob.
Hi, it's Christa.
Hey, it's Mike or Big Z, whatever you want.
And joining us today as a special guest, as I've introduced him before, writer, director, producer, and arguably one of the coolest members of my family, Harrison Smith. Welcome.
Arguably?
Fair.
No, it's great to be here again. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming back after last time. We appreciate that very much.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
So, in a timely fashion, I understand that you are working on a movie having to do with little green men.
Yes. Yeah, the movie, it's going by two titles at the moment. One is Little Green Men, which is the original title, and which the one I prefer. The producers are nervous because they're afraid that the title implies comedy, that it could be one of those like wacky alien kind of movies, Little Green Men. However, the title comes from the sheriff's report from the Hopkinsville Hobgoblins from an incident in 1954 where a farm homestead, the farmer claimed that their place came under attack over a 24-hour period. And by these small creatures with large eyes, big bat wing ears, they glowed and they floated. And you can read the whole write-up on it. But the sheriff that came out to investigate wrote it up in his report that these people claimed to have seen, and in quotes, little green men. And so that hit the press, that hit the media, and we've had that term ever since. So it's running by Little Green Men, but it is also running by Hopkinsville. Of course, obviously, for the name of the town where it took place. And it's a really cool story. I mean, I took some liberties with it just for narrative because according to what the real report, I've read what exists of the real report, you're not going to get a full 90-minute movie out of that. So it's one of those things because everything's very sketchy without filling in that DNA. That's what we did. And that's what I did. And I think it's a great story. It's a lot of fun, 90 minutes in and out. And most of all, shows a lot of, perspective from that time. I made it take place in 1954. And so it's a blast. It's a good time.
It's a really cool story if you guys aren't familiar with it.
Oh yeah, it's
a classic.
It's a very
cool story.
popular alien story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have to let us know when it's available for us to watch.
Absolutely. In production now.
Yeah. Look, again, as everything goes with all of this, they say, oh yeah, we're going to do it then. And then comes, and now we're going to do it then. They've optioned it. They have it in production. It is listed on my IMDb as in production. And until they get back to me on certain things, that's why I always hate about, like we'll do an interview and you'd be, oh yeah, didn't you say like months ago, oh, that's bullshit, and it's like, it's just the way the business works. And then all of a sudden one day it's like, okay, we're going. I had a previous film that I wrote originally called Monkey Island that they changed to The Eyes in the Trees. And for years, I've been shopping that around, and the producers have been taking it here and there. And then you have a strike, you have COVID, then you have a strike, and all of this stuff. And then out of the blue, 3 weeks ago, I get a phone call that, hey, we got Anthony Hopkins. He signed on, and it's done. And there I am in deadline. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess that's happening now.
Very cool.
So,
Sir
awesome.
Anthony
That's
Hopkins.
really awesome.
Good
yeah,
Lord.
got Anthony Hopkins.
That's awesome.
I know Rob had seen your post about that you put out on social media. He was kind of hoping that Anthony Hopkins would be joining you somewhere in the back.
Damn. Damn.
No, I won't have any contact with him until it actually starts shooting.
Yeah.
Very
see
cool.
him on set, but
Do you have to call him
it's like,
Sir Anthony
it's a
the whole
gig.
time?
What was that?
I said, do you have to call him Sir Anthony the whole time, or just Mr. Hopkins? Or
I guess I'm gonna find out.
Pull up and be like, yo,
From
Tony,
what
what's
I
going
hear,
on, my
he's a
man?
very modest
Hey,
man.
Ant,
That's
I really
what
want you to do this instead of that. Like,
Okay. So I guess on with the game.
On with the game.
All right. So the general idea of what we're going to do, as I mentioned earlier, I have compiled some UFO abduction, that kind of thing stories, and we have a shot spinner in the middle of the table. So the way this is going to work is Rob has concocted a cocktail and just spun the shot spinner for no apparent reason.
I just wanted to see if it made a fun noise. It does not. It is silent.
It was a test.
Well,
We're
I'm
wearing
supposed to put in-
enormous headphones. How are you going to hear that subtle sound?
Well, these mics are very sensitive.
True. Yeah.
We could put in a fun sound in post for the shot splinter.
Maybe
like a
I
Wheel
will.
of Fortune-esque sound, like
Or it can be like a UFO sound, like a woo.
a spooky woo.
Yeah.
Keep your theremin out.
I'm giving you work to do in post.
You are. It's
fine.
It's fine. There's always, anytime I record with you, there's work to do in post. So,
fair enough.
You're difficult to work with, Rob.
Fair enough.
yes. And
Yet I'm on almost every episode. I wonder how that works.
I mean, isn't the good talent always hard to work with, though?
Well, thank you.
I don't know.
It's
Harrison
called being a diva. Look it up.
Harrison, is the good talent always this hard to work with, or?
I have stories.
So does Matt.
Fair, yes. Okay, so with the shot spinner, as I read through these stories, if the individual that is reviewing the story guesses correctly whether or not the story is true or false, something Matt has made up, they will get to spin the shot spinner and make somebody else take a drink. If they get it wrong, they are going to take a drink. And Harrison is going to act as our living lifeline here, if you will, and help those who are hopefully not victimized by my stories figure out whether or not these are true or false.
Right. I hope I don't screw that up.
Oh no, it's okay.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
I'm
at all.
curious to know if like a fake story is going to be like
I
the
don't
red
know how-
plot line of
I don't know how
Close
bad
Encounters.
this is going to be or how easy this is going to be.
Yeah, right.
But we'll see.
Well, some alien stories are absolutely freaking wild, and
Yeah.
you're
That's
what I
like,
mean,
there's
like-
no way,
Right.
right? Like,
And
there's
they're
no
like,
way.
And they're like, no, this was a true
Which,
story.
by the way,
And you're
I
like,
would
who wrote
I would
this?
love
Objective.
to do a follow-up episode to this with paranormal stories, not just aliens,
ghost
because I
stories.
feel like
We would do that.
Harrison, Mike and I actually did amateur ghost hunting for many years together,
It's true.
and we'll have to tell you those stories at some point. I think some of them would be very interesting to you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, anytime. I know that you guys know that. Well, I'm from Stroudsburg originally, and we are famous for the national. Went on Unsolved Mysteries. We were
Yeah.
on Unsolved Mysteries for the Rainbow.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I didn't know that was Stroudsburg.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I also have a lot of ghost stories just because everybody in my family has been haunted at one point or another in one form or another. So, myself included, have had some interesting things happen. But
I don't know that I was throwing some holy water at you or something before you walked in. Bring any of that in here. All right. So the shot spinner is pointing at Mike.
Sure is.
You're going first.
Hey,
Hey.
So the first synopsis here. Germany, 1678.
True.
Oh. that was a year I wasn't expecting to pull up.
1678.
Who wrote this on
I-
Reddit? Who wrote this on Reddit?
Your AI is showing.
I mean, my AI is showing.
Germany wasn't even real then.
I did a lot of research for this. Thank you very much.
Okay, no. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Carry on.
Go on.
In a village now near where is now Frankfurt, Germany, there were a group of townsfolk that saw some lights flickering through the trees. A bunch of farmers went out to investigate what was going on. As they approached, there was a bright, blinding light. One of the farmers walked towards the light, felt a very calming presence, felt like he was being communicated with, told his friends it was okay, and then disappeared completely. They lost track of him, didn't know what happened. They walked back to the village, very concerned, wondering what happened to their buddy. Went to bed. The next morning, his body was discovered outside the village, not dismembered, but cut open in a way that in modern times we would understand as like medical cuts, taking a look at the chest, the arms, the legs, that sort of thing. Lots of open wounds. He was dead, and it became a cautionary tale to the children of that area around Frankfurt to not go into the woods, not go near the blinding lights.
Okay. So I have questions. Question 1.
Yes.
How was this recorded?
Passed down tale. I don't have anything from that time period get recorded. People tell people, and
Or those who are literate
It
write
was
it down.
painted on a wall.
Cave paintings.
It was
from
a
the
beautiful
1600s.
fresco.
I'm pretty
Ye
sure
aliens,
pretty sure
yeah.
people were literate in the 1600s, but hey, what do I know?
fairly certain.
What
Okay.
do I know? I
All
wasn't
right.
there.
I was going to say false, but that's where I was leaning. What are your thoughts, Harrison?
What are my thoughts?
Yeah.
I'm saying false because although there was an incident in Germany where I guess the printing press printed these large ships, glowing balls that came out of the sky, flew all over the place, and you can find that photo or that engraving online. I have never heard a story of any type of paranormal contact or anything with any other being other than that this took place over this city, over this town. Hundreds of people saw it. The picture, if you look it up, it's like a long black pointed ship with balls like orbs all over the place coming out of the clouds. And they said some of them came down and crashed. Like it was almost like they were witnessing a battle above them. I'm going to say false because I have never heard of any story.
I feel
this
like he took the
whatsoever.
movie Mothman and then stole the part where the guy gets lost in the woods and was like, yeah, that's great. I'm also going false. Lock it in. False.
Yep, that one is false.
Yay.
Okay, so now we spin the shot
Yep.
spinner.
Load up the shot
and
glass there.
Whomever it lands on other than Mike.
We'll take the shot, and they are the next victim.
Did you steal the woods part from the Mothman?
No.
It's me.
It is you.
Drink the little green man.
Cheers.
There you go.
Cheers.
It tastes like Ecto Cooler.
Does it?
It's so good.
It's so
I
good.
thought it kind of tasted like Little Green Men, but I mean that's just me.
Only you and Matt
I'm
would
be
know
honest.
that.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never tasted a little green man.
Maybe you
but-
should. You can find anything these days.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're ready.
Yes,
1952, Washington,
more
D.C.
plausible already.
Okay. Around midnight, around the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport, the Potomac River, that general area, 7 objects appeared on radar. They were located about 15 miles south of the city. 2 air traffic controllers spotted them. They were also spotted by aircraft on the ground. They bounced all over the general area, including across the White House and the Capitol building, stayed about 10 miles from the airport before zooming all around Washington, D.C. Again, confirmation from those on the ground and the air traffic controllers, and the objects stayed so long that they were wondering if they were actually going to disappear at some point. But they lasted until 5:30 a.m. in the morning. When they disappeared, it was in a blink of a second, and both the pilots on the ground, in the air, and air traffic controllers all saw them depart in a flash.
Harrison, this one sounds plausible to me. I know that in my, watching of UFO type shows and stuff like that, I definitely know that there's been reports in that Washington, D.C. area
There certainly have.
But yeah, I think I'm leaning towards true. What do you think, Harrison?
I'm saying true.
Yeah, we're gonna say true, locking it in.
So my only question was, didn't this you already locked in true?
Yeah, I've locked in true.
Isn't there a story very similar to this where they scrambled F-16s from the same area at a much later date?
That is correct.
Probably,
Okay, all
yeah.
right, fair enough. That's was
Yeah.
UFOs can appear in two places. They could do it twice.
Well, two times.
Two times.
Yeah.
Times, really.
Yeah.
Third
Yeah,
dimensional
and
beings.
if I'm wrong on a technicality, like it wasn't in 1952, it was in 1987.
Dude, that's
No,
literally,
you're doing a shot.
literally what I thought was going to happen.
No, I'm not hanging anybody up on technicalities for this
okay,
one.
word.
go on.
As fun as that would be, especially for you. No, you are correct. That is a true story.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right,
The
Harrison's 2 for 2.
Yeah, the story is actually considered, not to sound like, oh, I know all this shit. Just,
But
No,
that's
I
why you're
thought
here.
you were here.
You're
You're
here
the
because
expert.
you do know all
that
this
shit.
the story is considered a litmus test for skeptics also as well, and for researchers, that it's kind of like it's held its integrity all these years. So
So I just spun the shot spinner and it pointed to me, but I'm exempt, so it's whoever it's closest to, and it was closer to her than it was
Yes,
to Matt.
Christa
so-
hasn't gone yet.
I have
Oh.
not. So yeah, pour me a little bit of that ecto cooler, bro.
The
I
rules,
shall.
the rules are not completely explained to me.
Krista,
Mhm.
September 19th, 1961.
Okay.
A couple was driving around Niagara Falls on the Canadian side. They were just kind of driving along and saw something in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped. The husband was worried about bears. They stopped at a rest area, so he took a pistol with him, actually took a look at whatever was chasing them, kind of said, all right, I'm a little nervous here. I think it's just a commercial airliner. It started moving erratically. The husband went, that's not a commercial airliner. They got back in the car. The craft rapidly descended towards their vehicle directly in the middle of the highway. It was about 80 to 100 feet above them. All of a sudden, they're looking up. They're seeing humanoid figures through the windows, 8 or 11, looking at them, waving, what's going on. And the next thing they know, they have some lost time, and they end up back on the ground. And for years afterwards, they were remembering details of what happened through hypnosis and other means, and the story became very detailed. And they were very convinced that they had been and spent some time in an alien spaceship. I believe they were out of contact for at least, they said 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay. I have a couple points of contention with this story. For one, some pieces sound very stereotypical for UFO stories, which, it is not to discredit that, but, lost time and stuff like that is definitely a frequent piece in a lot of these stories. But it's the 60s and they went out of contact for who the hell were they in contact with in the 60s in their car by themselves, where someone would notice how much time is gone except for them. It feels like a couple different X-Files episodes. But Harrison, what do you think? I feel like I've heard similar things before, not this particular one before, but I'm not super convinced.
I'm going to weigh in saying that the story is pretty Frankenstein from the Betty and Barney Hill story. So I'm going to lean false.
I was going to say, yeah, there's a lot of pieces that I recognize from other stuff, but not particularly in this order, this pattern. So yeah, I'm gonna lock in false.
So it actually was the Betty and Barney Hill story.
That
was
also
the
what
one
I was
that-
going to say. I
Yeah.
thought that was the same story.
Yeah, so that was a true story. I was trying to give a loose synopsis of it there, and I believe I got most of the details correct.
Just
Harrison,
wording.
if you want to hammer me on getting something wrong there that was critical, please let me
No,
know.
it's just I've heard the story and read the story differently, that they were driving isolated on the back. Not all those other elements did I hear. I heard a lot of other things patched. I mean, maybe that is the case. I'm just saying I never heard some of those extraneous elements that were put in.
So
there,
I just
but-
heard this story not too long ago in one of the shows I watched, and it actually, I would say verbatim from what they said
Okay.
happened.
Yeah, and it was funny because I read it, and as I read it, my thought was also exactly what Harrison said, which was this seems like a Frankenstein amalgamation of every UFO story
Yeah.
ever.
Oh,
but this
I
is
guess
also a
so.
really early UFO story,
I did
too.
not realize that it happened up near Niagara. I
Yep.
thought that story was like somewhere in the middle of the U.S.
I thought it was
so.
like New York, so or like
okay.
New York State, not New York City, but
Well, I mean, technically
Technically,
Niagara
that's
is
right
New
there.
York
yeah.
State.
I thought it was like
And
U.S.
Canada.
side, but hey, what do I know?
All right,
Yeah,
you still got to spin it to see who goes
Oh
next.
yeah, okay.
We'll take a short break here, though, because
What?
before we spin, not a break.
Take 5, everybody.
Well, this has been fun. Thanks.
We kind of went through the first round there, but
Yes.
my question is, UFOs in general, what do we think they are? Where do they come from?
Ooh.
Where did they
Discuss.
go? So I think it's pretty crazy for us as human beings to think that we're the only beings out there. It's almost arrogant, to say the least. I feel like COVID kind of proved that well, too. Like, we were sort of kind of living our lives and like, oh my God, this virus came out of nowhere. Well, that's kind of what life's been about for, a long time. So
True.
there's all kinds of theories of where they come from, but I believe that there's something out there beyond us. There has to be.
Have you heard of the dark forest theory about aliens and extraterrestrials?
No.
So the dark
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So the dark forest theory is essentially there probably is other life elsewhere, other intelligent life, but the issue is that us as human beings, we tend to broadcast our, hey guys, it's us. Please come talk to us. Please see us. Please know what we're doing. And every other form of life out there is like, shh, don't say anything. Because you're thinking, if you're in a dark forest at night, it's scary. You don't know what's out there. And if you hear a stick break in the forest at night, every predator in that forest turns their head and is like, what's that? And we are the ones breaking the stick, where everyone else is like, do not say anything. You should be quiet. You don't know what's out there.
Yeah, we're just really confident
So
in how we carry ourselves.
I may or may not be opening up a can of worms with this. I
Open.
totally agree with you, Mike, that there's got to be something out there.
There has to be.
But a lot of these UFOs and these sightings and stuff like that, one theory that I've read, which I find very interesting, is the theory that they could be either time travelers
Yes.
or like parallel universe type
Yes.
of visitors, that they're not necessarily from a different planet, but from a different Earth or a different time on Earth.
Right.
And they show up and then we see them. I find it incredibly interesting that Tom DeLonge from Blink-182
Aliens exist.
was instrumental in getting the legislation passed to kind of get some of this stuff out to the public.
Mhm.
I don't know if you knew that,
Yeah,
but,
no, I
but he
do.
started a foundation called To the Stars
Yeah.
and essentially quit Blink-182 a while back in order to pursue getting the government to admit that they had all this information. So,
Mhm.
fun fact.
Just a little fun fact.
fact for the.
How about you, Harrison? What do you think about all this?
Well, I think you said a lot of what I feel. I think, just also not even, it would be arrogant of us to think we're the only things, but mathematically, I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely,
it's
yeah.
just, it's pretty much impossible that we're the only sentient living thing out there. I mean, some argue, well, yeah, there could be microscopic. I think there are other things. Plus, even if you take into account all of this stuff, and say 30, I'll even give you 50% of the reports are fake. You still have a large amount that are unaccounted for in the way of it. They're not all liars. They're not all crazy. And it's all not, swamp gas, weather balloons, and all that. I do believe there's a large amount of, disinformation out there that is put deliberately out there. Look, Occam's razor always says the simplest answer is usually the one.
Absolutely.
So it's really, really simple. If there is nothing, then let the government come forward and show us there's nothing. But they're not doing that. Why put up all the disinformation and the denial and the try to discredit people?
Because they don't want people to
ruin their
panic.
lives?
Mhm. Can I
Well-
tell you guys my UFO story? I had a UFO story happen to me a
Uh-huh.
couple of years ago. Yeah. So a couple of years ago, I think I was in college, and me and my cousin Anna were going to go to the Bloomsburg Fair. Shout out to the NEPA Bloomsburg Fair. And she was like, not a sponsor, but I love the Bloomsburg Fair. I go every year. Super cool. So she went out to college in like the Altoona area. So she drove by Bloomsburg a lot. So we were driving from Wilkes-Barre to Bloomsburg. And we were there for a while, whatever. We were going to go home, and it was dark out. But it wasn't super late. It was like 10:30 maybe. So not hella late, but it takes us like an hour to drive back to Wilkes-Barre. So we're driving back, and Anna has driven this road like 1,000 times. So we're driving, and it's kind of warm out. So we have the windows open, and we're driving 80 to come back. And we had, anyone who's driven Interstate 80 knows it's very curvy. But we were on one of the
It's
few.
an awesome road.
It is
It really
it's
is.
really Interstate
Oh,
80.
yeah.
I mean, but we were on a stretch that was straight. Our radio frequently goes out during driving 80, which is not out of the ordinary, but we were at
Yeah.
a weird stretch where the radio was out, so we were just in silence. And I was looking at my phone, and I had just put my phone down because I remember like I was staring at like my text messages or whatever, and then I put my phone down, so the car was dark, and we had like I looked up, and we were both staring ahead of us at this like flat road in front of us, and we saw this really bright one singular light, and we were like, it's not a headlight, like a car with like one headlight out, because we would have seen it like way further down the road because we were on a really like, you know how there's like the grassy area between
Yeah,
north
like the
and south?
median.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like right there. And it was so weird because it looked like it just turned on like a flashlight because it was suddenly right next to us. And we were like, whoa. And I like was like turning my head to like see where it was behind us, and it was gone. And it was just a very quick, like one and done thing.
How high was it off the ground?
It was like, I don't know, maybe like 10 or 12 feet off. It wasn't super high off the ground, but it was like taller than us in the car. Like I don't think it was a car because it was too high up, but I don't think it was like a floodlight or anything either. Because why would
No,
it
I
randomly
was
turn
more.
on?
I was more thinking that it could have been more of a paranormal experience if it was like on the ground,
Right.
Yeah,
like that.
well,
it
I
wouldn't be
mean-
like a UFO, but maybe like an orb or
Perhaps
something,
It was
but-
yeah, it was kind of high off the ground, but not high enough to be like whoa.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just were like we looked at each other, and she was like, "Did you just see that?" And I was like, "Yeah, what was that?" And then we like got home, and my mom was like, "Are you sure it wasn't a truck coming the opposite direction?" I was like, "No," because we were on that weird stretch where you can see like 3 miles in front of you. Like we would have if it was a truck or like a car with a headlight out, we would have seen it, and it was really, really, really bright. Like it wasn't like a car headlight, like LED car headlight bright, although those are really bright. But it was just super weird, and we were like, "Huh, that's just a really weird, strange thing that happened to us." So
There are a lot of stretches on that area of 80, driving back and forth between here and where I went to college in Western Pennsylvania. I know that stretch of road very well. I've
Yeah,
driven
yeah.
there a ton of times. And there are spots, especially around State College, you can see for miles and miles and miles
exactly,
and miles.
yeah.
Very interesting.
It was a very weird thing.
Oh, you get-
We chalked it up to perhaps it was something not of this world. Ooh, but what do I know?
They were on their way to pick Bert up.
I didn't even know Rob at that time.
no,
so,
it's okay.
But
I
I
will-
Yeah.
I will give my 2 cents on the topic, I suppose, since this is my podcast after all.
Yes. Are you going to talk in the third person again?
I might, but I hear that's
Matt
super
thinks.
annoying. So nothing.
Matt thinks.
No, Matt drinks actually. Matt's enjoying some Angry Orchard here very much. Love some apple cider every once in a while.
Somebody be whacking them weeds.
But no,
Yeah,
I
for
agree
real, for
with
real.
everything that's been said so far. I think it's incredibly arrogant of us, and also a mathematic improbability that we're the only people in the entire universe. Along with that, I think that when you think about physics and the multiverse and multi-dimensions that we don't even understand at this point, we might be able to comprehend 3 dimensions. We know there's a relationship, right, between space, time, and gravity, but we don't 100% understand what that relationship really is in the end. We don't understand what's going on in black holes. We don't understand that kind of thing.
Can you hit the button?
Yeah, what the hell are you
That's
talking
the
about?
scienciest thing
Yeah,
you've ever
where
said.
did that come from?
Where is the button?
That was excellent.
Wow. I didn't know that you knew some of those words.
I absolutely,
Yeah, like physics.
I love it.
Honestly, I have a theory.
Here, enjoy a drink for being a jackass to the host.
No. I mean, he was going over the stories, and it was like, oh, this will sound really good if I just rehearse this. And it'll be impressive.
I was impressed.
I was impressed.
I was.
Matt stares at his mirror and
I
practices.
enjoy this topic quite a bit. And I think also that since we can't comprehend that relationship in physics, and we can't comprehend fully other dimensions, it is entirely possible. One of the great explanations I heard one time is you met a being that could understand 5 dimensions. They could, as we look at a piece of paper and can understand what's going on, they could go, oh, there's something wrong with you. Pick out that particular organ, toss it away, and you'd never feel it because they don't understand.
Sure.
Like, we can't comprehend those extra dimensions. So being able to travel in a way that uses that level of physics understanding, being able to disguise yourself in a way that uses that level of understanding, we would never know. And my theory is they're probably coming here like we would go to the Philadelphia Zoo and going,
Well,
hey, you know,
That's
it's
like
really
a
fun to
Vonnegut
watch the
plot.
polar bears, and probably going, hey, I want to check out a Canadian couple. Let's see what the Canadian couple's like, or let's see what.
very apologetic. Tastes like maple syrup.
Oh, so sorry that my organs were out of place.
Sorry.
It's such a Kurt Vonnegut-esque type of approach to it.
You know,
but
not, not that I want to go down this rabbit hole now. Maybe I'll get one more round before we jump into this. But I would love to get everybody's opinion on ancient alien visits.
Oh,
and
like
how,
pyramids type
how
stuff.
that could have influenced civilization and whatnot. I find that incredibly interesting.
I think the bottom line for aliens and stuff is like that one tweet that was like, either we're alone in the universe or we aren't, and both are terrifying thoughts. And I like that because
I think that wasn't that Alan Turing who said that?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know who quoted it, but yeah, I was like, that's a very scary thought. Because
I feel like we should apologize to the listeners because this show has really been about nonsense, and all of a sudden we took a deep dive into like sciencey shit.
Sorry, guys, our bad.
What? Like people are going to,
but we're still doing dumb stuff in the middle.
We are.
Are we though?
I can talk about Matt's affinity for anal probing.
Matt, hey Matt, can you just say something stupid to like?
No, I just did it.
That was really stupid. I don't know.
I can talk about the fact that Rob's nickname at the college health clinic was Little Green Man. So
Let's try to get this back on the rails. Christa, spin to see who's
I don't want
next.
to. I don't want it back on the rails. I want to know what everybody's drinking, and then we're going to talk ancient aliens, and then we'll get back on the rails. We only got one round left, so let's.
Well, but that's why I thought we would close with more discussion.
No, well, this is a beer and drinking podcast, so let's talk beer and drinking.
I'm just drinking this lovely cocktail that I created just today. I'm calling it Little Green Men.
There you go.
And I've made it with a smattering of different green-colored beverages. It's Mountain Dew, melon liqueur, and what are those things called?
Buzzball.
Buzzballs. The lime margarita buzzball.
Folks, it's fantastic.
It's
so
actually
good.
really good.
So
good.
I literally just made it up. So I have a gift.
It was really good, guys.
You have a gift.
I do have a gift.
for lack of humility.
You know what? How about a stellar sip for this? It's delicious.
It is kind of a stellar sip.
Stellar sip.
All right, so we are going to talk about ancient aliens now?
Well, I want to know what they're drinking too.
Yeah, you're not the only person on this cast right now. Jesus.
Am I not?
I'm drinking New Trail Brewing Backcast Hazy Double IPA. I love New Trail. Shout out. They're one of my favorite breweries right now. So I'm always on their new IPAs and lager drops, and Backcast is delicious.
Chris and Siobhan can earmuffs.
Okay.
Why? Because they don't like New Trail?
Yeah, they're not big New Trail fans.
Okay.
I think it's because they just oversaturate.
I like New Trail. I think that they are, and I like I'm not a big PA Pride person, but they do a lot of like PA type of shout out stuff. Like they had this like cherry stout for Cherry Springs State Park, which is in Pennsylvania. So I do like that they shout out some local. Yeah. Okay. Well, not everyone has been there, guys. Come on.
It's an international dark sky park.
Yeah.
I know. I wanted to go.
See the Milky Way.
I saw the Milky Way when I was in Maine, and it was pretty awesome. So,
what you got there, Michael?
I got tables, lagers, and chairs from Second Sin. It's a American Pale Ale. It's fantastic. Shout out to Second Sin, great brewery down in Bristol. They're opening a second location in Newtown.
I thought you said it was an American Pale Lager, or is it a Pale Ale?
Did I say ale? I meant lager.
You said ale just now.
Nope. Let's read the can. Tables, lagers, and chairs, an American Pale Lager. It's fantastic. It's a really good.
It's got a very unique taste to it.
Yeah. Well, it has a little bit of hop going on there.
Yeah.
So it's not as like a typical lager, and it's actually very easy drinking.
I like the can. I buy a lot of beers based on if the can looks cool. So
well, then I mean, Second Sin does
definitely
really great
wrestling vibes there.
Good can.
Yeah. So
great can.
So as I said earlier, I have some crisp apple Angry Orchard. I got some Fireball here that I'm really debating just dumping in the can and going for it. But
well, you live here, man. You don't have to go anywhere.
You know what?
You should.
That's what you said you were going to do.
There we go. Why not?
Why not?
Harrison, you drinking anything?
No, I'm not.
Well, that's okay. we'll drink for you.
That's all right.
That sounds good. Yeah, you guys. I think you guys got that pretty well handled.
Yeah.
We tried. We tried.
He's doing the heavy lifting on the thinking here in general. So.
Linking on the thing.
And there it was, folks.
Yeah.
We did it, everybody. Wow.
That was before the Fireball.
So, opinions on ancient aliens. We'll let Harrison go first on this one.
Well, you know, the problem again there is no problem. It's just media wise, like the show itself on the History Channel and such is kind of like done damage to any like serious credibility, because it's so mass produced this and overhyped things. And when you're buying into things like Eric von Daniken and even Zachariah Sitchin, I mean, those things are all great and they're a lot of fun and we want those things, but it takes away from any real scientific research and veracity to it. So what I'm saying is, do I believe there was something that could have easily influenced us when we were more primitive? Absolutely. And there are all kinds of things that I have seen as well, visiting the Mayan ruins in Mexico, seeing the etchings and the hieroglyphics on the cave walls.
Which, just out of curiosity,
not the cave walls, the pyramid walls.
Which Mayan pyramids did you visit?
We went to Chichen Itza.
Hey, I've been there.
And then when we went to Peru, Machu Picchu, and you see all these things. And most of all, when you see the similarities of pyramids all over the world, separated by people that could not have contacted each other, that this kind of knowledge could not have spread. And there is still no definitive scientific explanation or archaeological explanation of just how they built these things. And especially with the accuracy that they have. But then you get on YouTube or you get on TikTok and there are people going, did you know the square footage of this pyramid equals out to be the exact speed of light? No, that's all bullshit. No, that's not true.
I really think that what you were saying before, though, Harrison, about like the media has done a disservice, like the show Ancient Aliens, it's kind of like Finding Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
That show Finding Bigfoot. The thing about that
for years we believed the Loch Ness Monster picture was real from 1933 on because a surgeon took the photo. No, a surgeon did not take the photo.
Right.
The surgeon lended his name toward the photo.
Right.
But we all now know that the man who took the picture on his deathbed not only admitted, but pointed right to the closet where the toy had been kept of that fake toy that was photographed. And we can go on, like you said, Finding Bigfoot. If there is something out there, if there is some kind of anomalous creature or bipedal, kind of thing, a primitive primate kind of thing, these kind of shows are ruining it.
Well, absolutely.
And they're giving a bad name to any type of really serious research. And here's the problem. Before James Randi died, the amazing Randi, I actually approached him when he was still alive living in Florida at the James Randi Institute to see about putting on a television show that actually goes out and doesn't try to debunk, but actually tries to go out and look at things scientifically. Imagine a Finding Bigfoot show with real accredited scientists and paleontologists and DNA experts and all of that. And he replied something very simple. He said, that show will never go. He goes, nobody wants to watch that show.
I want to watch that show.
I'm
incredibly interested in that show.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
The ridiculous yahoos and their ATVs yelling Bigfoot calls in the middle of the night. I mean, look at Ghost Hunters. I mean, Ghost Hunters has been on TV for almost 20 years. They've never found a fucking thing. I mean, we have lots of green, night vision and lots of, I felt a cold spot. And then you get, what I always call Zach Baggins, Scooby Douche.
Mm-hmm.
You get him that's out there and, I'll challenge you, I'll fight you. And it's like, all this is just posturing and stupid television. And instead of actually looking at things where we do have, things that are on the record. And look, I knew Lorraine Warren. I didn't know Ed, but I knew Lorraine Warren. I met Lorraine Warren. I've been to her home. I had archives, opened up for me. And I got to tell you, and all the things that I saw on their videos and their proof, I didn't see anything that would convince me of anything. That's my opinion.
I think that shows and things that are highly publicized, like the Warrens, like Finding Bigfoot and all that kind of stuff, it's more so aimed for an entertainment value than it is for actual like finding proof, which is fine. Like I enjoy watching Ghost Adventures getting drunk with my friends because it's funny, and you like to see Zach Baggins be like, fight me, ghost. It's funny. Like seeing them be like, I never drink, but I would love to take a shot of whiskey. It's hilarious. It's funny. But I think that having like, I don't want to say blind faith, but having like a belief in something that, especially something that's happened to you, like I believe in ghosts because I've had ghostly things happen to me, and that's like my own personal experience type stuff. And if someday people are like, ghosts aren't real, like we've scientifically proven it, I'd be like, okay, cool. then what the hell was that? That happened to me a while ago.
Right. And I have similar things like that where
Uh-huh.
it's kind of like I would just be like, okay, so what the hell was that then? And I don't get solid answers. But
Mhm.
when we go to look for those kind of solid answers, like I heard one fascinating story about the explanation for ghosts, and that is, parallel universes kind of overlapping on each other, which takes it out of the supernatural realm, brings it into.
My dad has always said that he believes that ghosts are, not to quote Doctor Who, but time is wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. So
Yeah, they're echo.
yeah, it's kind of like you see ghosts because time just got a little wonky in that one particular place. Like,
Yeah.
and sometimes ghosts, not that ghosts interact with people, but ghosts may interact with stuff in your environment.
Harrison, you said you were in Chichen Itza and you saw the pyramid ruins there. And that was something for me that was rather life-changing to see that whole thing, to climb. I don't know if you were able to climb it. I was still able to climb it when I went.
Yeah, I did climb it. Yeah.
And to see the jungle. I have a distinct memory of next to the Great Ball Court, there is an etching, and it's in kind of, I don't even know how to describe it because it's this limestone structure, and there's a carving of what is very clearly a Mayan warrior next to somebody that is dressed like a Roman. I'm so glad you know what I'm talking about. Somebody that is in a Roman outfit, then somebody that is in a Phoenician outfit. Very, very apparent what you're looking at. But when you look at it, there is a clear, to me, in my head, I was thinking, okay, you met those folks in such a way that you felt the need to carve them into a wall. That's not something you're just going to randomly carve. That wasn't a doodle. That was something that was etched on purpose. So my thought, I'd be interested to hear your thought on this too, was that there is a connection in the ancient world that we don't know about. Those cultures did know each other on some level. I don't know if at that level I think it's aliens, but I think there's also some other things that
Does
we can't
anybody at the
explain.
table or Harrison, have you guys ever heard of Graham Hancock?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Very
so
familiar with
I
Graham Hancock.
find
Yes.
some of his work to be very thought-provoking, where he talks about an ancient civilization rising to a height of technology and then getting mostly wiped out by some kind of cataclysmic event, and the surviving members then traveled the world to try to help the less technology advanced civilizations to become more technologically advanced. I find that a very interesting theory.
I like that.
All right. I got to get another round in here so we can wrap this episode, and it's not 19 hours long.
Okay, that's fine. Krista, you have to spin.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, let me spin that.
Go.
All right, we're going to do.
Oh, boo, Matt, boo.
I think what we proved is we have to do this again. So I'm going to give us some quick synopsis.
I think that landed on me. So do I go again?
No, Mike's going to go.
True and false.
Oh, psych.
Mike's going to go.
Mike.
So
Yeah.
Jersey. So
Nice crisp ying.
I'm going to make you do one of these shots. Jersey Turnpike, 2001,
I will not drink that.
July 14th. Motorists looked up along the highway in the Jersey Turnpike and saw several objects. Strange orange and yellow lights in a V formation over the Arthur Kill waterway between Staten Island and, I'm going to mess that up, Carteret, New Jersey. The police departments took a look at it. They also were witnesses. Other folks in the metro area saw the exact same thing that these motorists were looking at. Air traffic controllers initially denied that any airplanes, military jets, anything like that would have caused the lights, but a group known as the New York Strange Phenomenon investigators claimed to receive FAA radar data
Seems
that
legit.
corroborated the UFO sightings that night.
That group is what makes it seem legit.
That group?
No, I'm done. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I mean,
it's not my turn.
For the sake of speed, I think that this is true.
You're going with true? Do you want to ask Harrison his opinion on
your
this
thoughts?
one?
That again, see what I mean? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like you can mix and match.
I know.
Like actual physical data with craziness. That's the problem to differentiate. Which
Wasn't there like one where
muddies all the waters?
right? But the police were
I'm gonna say true.
I think it's true. Lock it in.
Yes, it is true, and probably not the weirdest thing to ever happen in New Jersey. So.
Okay, who's
Real.
doing the
Yeah,
shot?
definitely
Spinner
not
up.
the weirdest thing to happen in Jersey.
That was a weak spin.
It's
Bum.
Krista.
Krista's taking
having
the
a bad
shot.
time.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris is up next.
Krista's up next.
Go.
All right. Oceana Naval Station, Norfolk, Virginia. On the early hours of the morning, September 2023, two seasoned fighter pilots' routine training mission were about 5 miles out to sea. They saw a blip on their radar. They maneuvered to investigate, and a jellyfish UFO-like craft approached their aircraft and maintained speed and position as they flew. It stayed right next to them, seemed to almost be static in the air. Air traffic control reported no other objects besides them in the area. They actually asked for permission to engage because they were concerned about its proximity to their aircraft. They asked for backup. They were denied both. The craft just seemed to hover there, then all of a sudden shot straight down into the ocean. That was it.
This sounds really familiar. I think this is a true story. I feel like I've heard this story before. I don't know if it happened in 2023, but I've heard a very similar story. And I don't know if it happened in Norfolk, but I've heard a very, very, very similar stories. I'm going to say true.
Harrison, what do you think?
I'm gonna say true.
All right, so I'm going to consider that one my audition to write a movie for you at some point, because that one was false. So,
Oh, see, that's what I mean. Like you start getting into that area where
No,
I know.
that's very similar to the Tic Tac story that kind of broke.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe that was what I was
That was
thinking
off the
of.
coast of California, though.
Oh, I thought I heard one like that from Australia.
Hmm.
Was-
Maybe.
Possibly.
But the Tic Tac video that came out from like 2018,
Yeah.
that was off the coast of California.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
got
I'm
you.
just going
Yeah.
to go next.
yeah, that
yeah,
was
San Diego.
all right. Roswell, New Mexico. No, I'm not doing that.
Last one. Here we go.
False.
Yeah. O'Hare International Airport.
Airpoint?
Airpoint.
I love the O'Hare Airpoint.
I'm
Folks,
flying into there on Saturday.
Folks, remember
Yeah.
about 20 minutes ago, he went on a dissertation about sciencey stuff.
Yes,
Yes.
and now he can't say
Say
airport.
Mama never said I was a smart man.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Gump. Let's go.
O'Hare International Airport, 2006. Flight 446 was getting ready to fly from North Carolina to Chicago when an employee noticed a dark metallic object hovering over gate C-17. 12 United Airlines employees all saw this particular flying saucer. They say it hovered over the flight, delayed the flight, and then disappeared into the blue sky. The FAA reported it as a weather phenomenon, and they declined to investigate, even though it was right next to the freaking airport.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with true.
I'm
Yeah,
going with true
it's
as well. True.
It's a very well documented story.
It is true.
Ho!
Did it?
Oh,
And the last shot goes to Matthew.
I'm really happy. That's a fitting ending.
oh.
Load one of those up for me there.
Do you know?
Here you go.
Do you know who did no shots?
Who did no shots?
I did.
Him.
I didn't do
Oh.
any shots.
Get Mike a shot.
Why would I- why-
We're doing a
what?
shot together.
Michael.
Fair
This
enough.
one's mine. So.
There you go.
Oh, pour
You get
me
the-
some ecto cooler.
And I'm going to use this sound drop just because.
Black hole detected. Beware the event horizon.
Well, that was a lot of fun.
It was.
And I
Thank
think
you.
we've proved that we need a paranormal version of this
Definitely. I need to talk about ghost stories.
with this team.
Oh,
If-
absolutely.
Harrison, if you'll come back, and maybe we could do
Sure.
a much looser version instead of like doing stories. Are they true or are they not? Maybe
We're
we
just
could just
gonna
talk
chat?
about
We can just
famous.
chat.
I think that would be great just to toss back what everybody's experienced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. All right.
cool. Well, cheers,
All right.
Harrison.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank all of you.
Good luck
and
with Tony.
thank you all for listening.
You got it. Thank you.
This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
The boozy quote for this episode comes from author Stephen King, who said, "I'll work until bureau clock." On social media, please like, follow, and push all the buttons for us. That's Matt and Friends DTU at Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. For more information about the podcast, as well as links to our merch store, social media, and all the places you can listen to us, visit our website, mattandfriendsdtu.com. That's mattandfriendsdtu.com. Thank you again for listening to Matt and Friends Drink the Universe.